Hi folks, this is Steve, the Cardboard Cultist, and today we're going to be playing some Fallout from Fantasy Flight Games. And the setup for this one is this kind of pyramid shape where we've got the green locations down the bottom, moving into the red locations as we move further up. And we've got the bridge, the mill and the haven at the top of the map. And for the two competing factions, we've got the rebel slaves who are worked to death in the steel mills of the Pitt. And we've also got the slavers, who lord over the population of the Pitt while claiming to engineer a cure to the rampant sickness. And we've completed setup, so let's take a look at the first quest, Into the Pit. And for this quest we happen upon a man in the wasteland who asks us if we see his friends to tell them he made it, and that there is a way out. And we can either report the escaped slave to the slavers, or we can inform his friends. Now our first agenda card is encouraging us to support the slavers. And unfortunately in the wasteland, you've got to look out for yourself. So we're going to be heading to a settlement to report the slave. And very early on, we show our allegiance to the slavers' cause. We've already started to uncover some of the map, and we found ourselves in our first combat situation. Now for this game, we are playing the Brotherhood Outcast character, and this character starts with the incredibly useful power armor. So combat for us is not a huge problem, and we're not expecting to take too much damage over the course of this scenario. That said, that power armor is heavy, so movement is going to be an issue. So if we want to move around the map at a normal rate, we are going to have to find some bottle caps to negate the power armor's weight. Meanwhile though, we found that the slavers' leader's daughter has gone missing, and we're on the trail to find her. After a little bit of reconnaissance over at Red Rocket Station, we've managed to find his daughter. However, if we want to be more used to the slavers, we're going to have to get this information up to the haven at the top of the map. And as you can see, that's not a particularly fun journey. And while we do have our power armor to protect us, we don't have a lot of firepower. So some of these tougher enemies are really going to cause a problem. So we decide to move quickly to try and put some distance between us and our enemies. We've nearly made it up to the haven now, but we're out of money and we're still taking damage along the way. Things aren't going too bad though. We haven't taken too much radiation damage and we're quickly working our way towards the haven. Hopefully once we're there, we can speak to the right people and try to earn the trust of the slavers and get that shield token moving up. Now at this point I finally get that quest completed, and I also gain a perk from leveling up. And those of you familiar with the game may notice that I take the wrong perk. It's something that I really wasn't paying any attention to, but thankfully it doesn't have any impact on the game. Now thanks to my efforts supporting the tyrannical slavers, they've managed to get a nice presence down at the bridge. However, I've kind of bottlenecked myself into a nasty situation up there, and I'm surrounded by enemies I'd rather not come into contact with. You may have just noticed I took a huge hit from one of the bots, and I'm in a really dangerous situation now, and one that I don't think I'm going to get out of. And to make matters worse, I think I've managed to trigger all-out war. The oppressed slaves are rising up against their oppressors, the slavers, and since I'm one of them, that includes me. I do manage to take out one of the slaves up at the top of the map, but I'm quickly wiped out myself, and find myself back at the Crossroads camp. To be honest though, that death has worked out about as well as death can. I've not lost anything too valuable, and I've put a lot of distance between me and my enemies. From a gameplay perspective though, I'm in a slightly tricky situation. The main story quest demands that I wipe the slaves from the map. If I do that however, the game will end and I won't have enough influence points to win. So right now, I've got to collect myself some extra agenda cards before I wipe these slaves out. So it's just a matter of staying alive and gaining more influence. At this point though, that's easier said than done. The more time I spend in the wasteland, the more radiation I'm exposed to, and it's really starting to take a toll on my body. I've just got to stay alive and try to keep looking for opportunities to improve my influence. As we were heading to our current location, a settlement in Ashbury Road, we took out another slave. So now there's just one remaining. But for now, we just hold up at Ashbury Road, trying to gain some more influence. And we're willing to work with just about anyone right now to get what we need to survive. Because of the nature of the game, we're really up against it for time, but we don't have enough health to just shoot our way across the wasteland. Thankfully, we've come into a little bit of money, and we're going to use that to negate our movement penalty, so we can start moving around the map a lot quicker. After a few more combat encounters, we're going to start heading our way over to the west of the map, to some of those green unexplored areas. Now of course we could have played the game a little bit differently and focused on collecting agenda cards early before we advance the main story. But to be honest, when I'm playing solo and I draw an agenda card that focuses on one specific faction, I like to follow that story through to the end. And we have been a little bit unlucky with the additional agenda cards that we've drawn. Now we've finally managed to make our way over to Hoffman Farm, and we've been looking for this location for a while. We're slowly getting ourselves into a position where we can take out that final slave, but we just don't have a lot of health. One failed combat could have us respawning once again. We finally managed to get what we need from Hoffman Farm, but we've got a slow, difficult journey to that final slave. With some really nasty enemies potentially closing in on our position, I decide to explore that final green tile. I'm hoping that it gives us an easier route across the map and we're able to get to this last slave and quell the rebellion. After a tough journey across the wasteland, we find ourselves face to face with the one remaining slave. The Brotherhood outcast shows no mercy and quickly dispatches of the slave. This is a good day for the Brotherhood outcast, but a bad day for the rebellion. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun with this one. But until next time, take care and thanks for watching.